Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No.
I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to Hot Mic. Appreciate you for joining us, however you are. WDAY Extra. Good morning to all of our friends in South Dakota, tuning in on KSFL TV in Sioux Falls and KNBN in Rapid City. We are also streaming live on Inform.com. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday to you. It is the 18th day of June in the year 2026. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo this week. You're stuck with me for 2 more days, and then Dom is back with us on Monday, and we hit the ground running next week. Next Monday, this show is live on location in Wahpeton at Cody Mauch's football camp. Looking forward to that. Dom will be back hosting the show for that. Also, at some point next week, I believe early next week, the Division I cabinet will decide the fate of age-based eligibility, and also if North Dakota State will be postseason eligible for this upcoming season out of the Mountain West Conference. We talked about that with Gene Taylor yesterday a little bit. I believe that will come to some sort of answer, resolution next week. And then also at the end of next week is the Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championship, which will be televised right here on WDAY Extra Friday, Saturday, Sunday, noon to 5. All 3 days, and that's happening at the Moorhead Country Club. So that's next week. Excited for next week, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Still a lot happening to wrap up this week. We got plenty going on. Last night was actually a pretty fun sports night. If you were looking around and trying to figure out some games to watch, some pretty solid games. We'll recap that in just a second. But first, before we talk about any sports, I mentioned it on the show yesterday to start that I'm not typically a morning person. This week has been good. My sleep schedule is getting pretty solid, so I'll take that as a win. Mentioned I've been drinking a lot of coffee this week. Actually, none today. Didn't eat breakfast today. And I also mentioned that Eric has been on a kick. Eric, our producer, one of our producers in the back, has been doing a lot of great work for us for years. He has been on a kick of Mountain Dew donuts. I've never heard anything like that in my life. Apparently, they're selling them at Eric's favorite place in the world, Quick Trip. Mountain Dew donuts. He brought in some to the station. Eric, if I'm not mistaken, you bought these on Monday, so they're pretty much a week old. And I raided his desk this morning, and I figured the box is still here with a decent amount of donuts in there. And so they must be good. But I wanted to try one, and I figured no point to do it than to start the show this morning. So here's a live taste test of the Mountain Dew donut. Can't believe it. First time I've ever had one. Doesn't taste like Mountain Dew. Not bad. Not bad. We'll leave that there. Got my sugar rush in for the day. So I'm ready to go now.
It's a limited time only, too. Like, they only made... Yeah, so I was coming back from Wisconsin on Monday. I stopped in Duluth. That's where I was kind of up in the UP Wisconsin border, and I stopped there and I saw they had like a pile of them on the counter as you go back for another bite. They were kind of frozen, and he's like,
"It's not bad. I'm not."
What does it taste like to you? Is what I want to know first.
A regular donut. It's not bad.
What does it taste like?
A regular donut.
No, like the flavor, like
there's a slight aftertaste that tastes. I don't get Mountain Dew from it, but
no, I got like a lemon or a lime taste from it.
A little bit. That's a little bit of the aftertaste. A little bit of the aftertaste.
So yeah, they only made like 1 million boxes, and they only come in boxes of 6. So you can't just buy a solo one like people would want to do, because that would be the smart thing to do. But
yeah, 6 of them might be a little much. It's not when you first brought it up earlier this week. I thought that was the most outlandish collaboration that I've ever heard. But it's not horrible. I will say that. So I appreciate you, Eric. Thanks for providing me breakfast for today.
You're welcome.
And
That's
now,
$1 you owe me.
Yeah, okay. And now I'm ready to go for the day. All right, let's talk about what happened last night. No Twins last night. Have the day off in their series against the Texas Rangers. The only local professional sports team in action last night was the Minnesota Lynx. And actually, this is a huge week for the Minnesota Lynx and the WNBA with the Commissioner's Cup pool play actually wrapping up in the Commissioner's Cup last night. Championship will be played later on this month. They had the late game against Los Angeles last night. Let's run you through some of the highlights in that really impressive, we'll just say it now, win for the Minnesota Lynx. It was actually a historic night, and big part because of the rookie Olivia Miles had one heck of a game. You see her getting the basket there. Lynx are up by 2 at this point with 2 minutes left to go in the first. Ray Burrell knocks down the 3 from the wing. 19 points for her in the game. LA had the lead at that point, but Minnesota would go on a tear after that. Miles again to the basket, left hand. At this point, the Lynx up by 16 with 5 minutes left to go in the first half. LA would try to answer a little bit more. Erica Wheeler with the drive and score. Now, Lynx up 20 at this point. LA again trying to climb back into the lead. Burrell, good fake to the corner and then up to the rim and in. Now we're getting a little dicey. It's an 11-point lead late in the third, but Miles just so good going to the basket. Can't believe she's a rookie. She would set a WNBA rookie record last night with 24 points in the first half. She finished with a career-high 31, just 1 point away from the Lynx rookie scoring record in a game of 32. Olivia Miles, circle that name. That's one to watch in the Minnesota sports world. So she obviously leads the way. Lynx did 4 players in double digits scoring yesterday, 99-83 the final score. The Lynx were 9 for 21 from 3, 40 for 72 from beyond the arc. They are now 12-3 this season in the WNBA. And when you look at the WNBA standings, as of this morning, the 18th of June, the Lynx are at the very top. They're 1 game ahead of the Aces and the New York Liberty. They're 12-3. Aces, Liberty are 11-4. So, for WNBA fans that know about the Commissioner Cup, this in-season tournament that they have, at the end of it, winner gets a $500,000 pool prize to split throughout the team. NBA has done something similar like that. So that's going on in the WNBA right now. The Commissioner's Cup Championship is going to be played on June 30th. So you would think, just looking at the WNBA standings, the Lynx are going to host the thing because team with the top record has that ability. Well, no. Actually, there was another game happening last night that was pretty important, and it involved the Las Vegas Aces and Phoenix. Lynx fans needed, or the Lynx, I should say, needed the Aces to lose against Phoenix. And actually, they were trailing for a portion of this game. If Las Vegas were to lose last night, then the Lynx solidified their spot into the Commissioner's Cup Championship against the New York Liberty, who's the best from the East, and they made their way out of the pool section throughout the Commissioner's Cup over this last month, I should add. So one big game that happened last Saturday was Vegas and Minnesota, and Vegas had a 3-point win. It was a tight one, and that just happens to be the deciding factor in the tiebreaker because both teams, after yesterday, are now 6-1 in Commissioner Cup play. So since Vegas had the tiebreaker and they came out and they beat Phoenix 86-76, coming back in that game, the Commissioner's Cup in the WNBA is now the Aces and the Liberty, and despite the Minnesota Lynx having the best record in the WNBA. That is the most Minnesota professional sports thing I think I've heard in a while. Of course, the Lynx are the best team and not in the midseason championship. Of course that's the case. Now, one thing I was thinking about last night, the Lynx haven't won a championship since 2017. So it's been a while. Now, they've won one in recent memory, which is a great sign for Minnesota sports fans, but it's been a while since the Lynx were able to do the whole thing. This year, I think, could be the case. I was also thinking, which Minnesota professional sports teams are the closest to a championship right now? I obviously, I think the Lynx are the front runners right now, given how great their season is. But you also have to factor in, okay, it's been a minute, and can they close it out the rest of the way? I think so. If I had to do the power rankings of Minnesota professional sports teams that have the best chance to win the next championship for Minnesota, I would go Lynx, Wild, Frost out of the PWHL. The only reason I put them in third and not second is because the league is expanding. More star players are being spread out. I'm curious to see about that. Then I would go Vikings, and then I would go Twins. That's where I go. I don't know. Can we get a poll question on that for this morning? I'm curious. So maybe we'll throw that up on our social medias and see what you guys have to say. But that is my thoughts on that. Lynx, Wild, Frost, Vikings, Twins. I think that's fair. I think the Wild, and if they could have a great offseason and get some talents, whether that be a guy like Dylan Larkin that's talked about, maybe even an Austin Matthews, which would be really impressive. I'd be really excited about that. I think they got a good shot. Looked good this year, just didn't come together in the playoffs. Also, the big news out of the WNBA yesterday, they are expanding their amount of regular season games from 44 to 50 in the future. So that's what's going on in the WNBA. We'll keep tabs on the Minnesota Lynx as we go throughout the summer, and we'll see if they can get the championship done. All right. Also yesterday, as I mentioned, no Twins, but still plenty of baseball going on. College World Series was in the semifinal round in Omaha. 2 games happening yesterday, West Virginia and North Carolina, and then Georgia and Oklahoma. For West Virginia and Georgia, they both had to beat UNC and Oklahoma twice in order to advance to the championship series. Just for UNC and Oklahoma, they only had to win once. Good games yesterday. Let's give you the highlights, and we'll start with West Virginia and North Carolina. Of course, we're familiar with North Carolina because North Dakota State transfer Jake Schaffner bats at the top of the order, and this batting order for the Tar Heels was really impressive yesterday. Top of the first, Owen Hull at the plate. Hits a drive to right off of the wall. That brings in a run. So UNC up by 1 early. In the third, Cooper Nicholson at the dish with a drive to right center. Takes a big bounce off of the wall. He motors into third. That's his first career triple. North Carolina at this point in the third is up 5-1 over West Virginia. In the fourth, it's Hull again. Down left field line. Runs will come in to score. Owen Hull goes 4 for 5 yesterday with a pair of runs batted in. He's the first North Carolina player with 3 extra base hits in a game as Gavin Gallagher goes up the middle. Gallagher also went 4 for 5 with 4 runs batted in. Give credit where credit is due to West Virginia. They were down big in this game and made it manageable. 12-7 was the final score. So congratulations to North Carolina and to former Bison star Jake Schaffner. He will play in Omaha this weekend at a chance at the national championship. Who North Carolina will play, that was the question that was answered later in the night between Oklahoma and Georgia. Again, double elimination. Georgia having to win twice over Oklahoma in order to move on. Here's how it went down yesterday. In the bottom of the third, Daniel Jackson, one of the top stars in college baseball, rips one down the third base line. This is one of the best camera angles you're going to see. Umpire cam over at third. What a diving snag by Camden Johnson. Throw across the diamond for the out. That's really impressive. Top 4, Oklahoma up by 1, and they really took it to Georgia with the long ball. Gave them a taste of their own medicine. Georgia led the country in home runs this year, but Oklahoma was leaving the yard left and right all game. Really impressive. This one was Deshaun Harris with his second homer of the game. In total, the Sooners would have 5 homers against Georgia. Also hitting 2 of them was Jason Walk. Both he and Deshaun Harris become the first two Oklahoma Sooners to hit multiple home runs in a game at the College World Series for the Oklahoma Sooners. That's Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer, who's probably a Heisman favorite this season. He was at the game, absolutely loving it. So Oklahoma wins 11-4, and this is our College World Series Championship Series finale here. Oklahoma, Carolina. We start on Saturday. It's a best-of-3 series. You win the first one on Saturday. Or say, game 1 Saturday, game 2 Sunday, game 3, if needed, is on Monday. So we'll see if we get to that point. Have to give credit where credit is due to Oklahoma as well. Not a team known for their long ball ability throughout the season. They said it on the broadcast last night. About 6 weeks ago, Oklahoma was ranked in the top 120. They were like 120th in the country in home runs. Now, after what they have done throughout the rest of the regular season and the postseason so far, they're 30th in the country in home runs. They're hitting the ball very well, giving a taste of their own medicine to Georgia. So that is our championship series coming up over the weekend. We have a couple of days off today and tomorrow, and then Saturday we're back to it with North Carolina and Oklahoma. Looking forward to that coming up. Dom will give you the latest on that when we start next week. And again, a reminder, we're live on location next Monday at Cody Mounks Football Camp down in Wapaton. All right, with that being said, I promised yesterday that I was going to do a bigger recap of what's been going on in the World Cup and what we can look forward to expect. And I wanted to bring in the big guns, and that's exactly what we have done. And that leads us into our guest lineup for today, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Our guy, Michael Breker, part of the Fargo American Outlaws. You may remember him from our coverage of North Dakota State soccer throughout the fall. He will join us at 9:35. Right before he's actually got to coach soccer practice, so it's fitting. And he will give us the full breakdown of everything we need to know about the World Cup, give us reaction of what we've seen so far. There's been some fantastic games over the last couple of weeks. So looking forward to hear what Michael has to say about the World Cup and what the American Outlaws have going on over this next stretch involving the United States men's national soccer team. Then at 10 o'clock, usually I'm in as a guest here on Thursdays at 10 o'clock, but I'm in the big chair this week. So I'm bringing in a guy to fill in my spot. I'm very excited for this conversation with our WDAY sports anchor, Riley Swenson, who's got his finger on the pulse on everything. A lot of topics to touch on with Riley. He will join us at 10 o'clock. Then at 10:30, I'm interested in this. We're going to solve some of the world's problems when it comes to the NHL playoffs. Special guest coming in on that. One of our producers, Ben Becker, spent he spent a lot of time, and he's found some good answers that I agree with, and we're going to touch on that at 10:30. So that's coming up later on in the show. Let's take a break, our first one of the morning. When we come back, the U.S. Open is underway at Shinnecock Hills in New York right now, and it is, as you would expect, chaos. We'll dive into some of that chaos right now and take a look at the leaderboard and what you need to know for the U.S. Open as we get ready and we are approaching the weekend. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns. Back on this somewhat gloomy Thursday morning. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom for the rest of the week. He'll be back with us on Monday. Coming back here, we've got it up on our social media as our poll question for the day, and made some adjustments to it after sitting and thinking about it during the commercial break. Besides the links, so let's take the links out of the equation because I think it's pretty obvious they have the best chance to bring a championship back to Minnesota. So besides the links, who has the best opportunity to bring a championship back? Wolves, Wild, Vikings, Frost. X only gives you 4 options, so we left the Twins out because I think they're the furthest away. So let us know what you think. Who's got the best opportunity? My power rankings, Wild, Frost. Oh, I forgot about the Wolves when I was talking about it in the first, didn't I? Wild, Frost, and then I'll go Wolves, and then I'll go Vikings after that. I knew I was forgetting one. All right, so let us know your thoughts on social media there. Okay, the third major of the year in the PGA, or in the world of golf, I should say, is off and rolling this Thursday morning. The U.S. Open underway at Shinnecock Hills in New York. It is widely known as one of, if not the toughest test in all of golf. It is back at Shinnecock. This is the 6th time the major has been hosted there. Interesting stat on this. Only twice out of the 2 times has the winner been even or above par. So it's fairly tricky. And the winners that have been below par are sitting pretty close to the even mark. This week, it's going to be tough for all of these golfers. The course is known for being nearly impossible in the past at the U.S. Open. This week's going to be extra tough. I've heard that wind gusts are going to be around 30 to 40 miles per hour throughout, especially today and portions of the weekend, which we here in North Dakota, we laugh at that number. That is a typical Tuesday on the course for us. But given the rough conditions of Shinnecock Hills, that's going to be pretty difficult. The USGA came out yesterday in preparation for this and said that they're really focusing on slower greens this year, more reasonable pin locations, and more time in the break between morning and the afternoon session, and they're going to spritz the greens. They're going to spritz it. They're not going to hose it down. They're going to spritz it. Whatever that means, and they're going to keep the greens from going rock hard. Now, I've seen that many people have their own opinions on this, so if you're going to go through in between sessions and spritz greens, does that mean one session of the field is not going to have the same opportunity to play on softer greens than the later session? That's something we're going to have to find out over the next couple of days. I do kind of want to see what they mean by spritzing the green. I also saw that the greens this weekend, the USGA is hoping that they're running around a 10 on the stimp meter. Now, a stimp meter, for those of you that don't know in the world of golf, and I'm no grounds crew member or greenskeeper by any means, so I'll try my best to explain it. That's how they measure the speed of a green at the golf course. So a 10 is pretty fast. 8 to 9 is average on public courses, and 12, I believe, is the usual on tour. How they measure that, you roll a ball down a ramp, and it would go, in this case, about 10 feet away from a ramp. So that's what a stimp meter is for those not familiar with that. Today has been rather interesting. The fog has come in at Shinnecock Hills this morning. Play was actually suspended for a decent portion. They kicked off early this morning and then had to bring everybody back in. They are off and rolling now. It sounds like the wind has calmed down a little bit. That fog is still prominent, but it's been a little tough. Now, the big storyline this year for the U.S. Open is that the fact that all eyes are on Scottie Scheffler. He is chasing the career Grand Slam right now. If he can win the U.S. Open this year, he has come out and said that the Grand Slam is not his main motivating factor when it comes to winning the U.S. Open, but it is up there. He's also said in media availability earlier this week that, even if I finish second, that's still a successful week. It's not all about the career Grand Slam. So that's not really on the forefront of his mind, but I'm sure he wants to fight to get that honor, which has surprisingly become pretty often occurrence these days in the world of golf. I didn't know this, or I didn't even think of it, but he's only got one win on the tour so far this season. That came back in his first start of the year. But as you look ahead to the U.S. Open this weekend at Shinnecock Hills, the story is really starting to write itself. I think it's setting up perfectly for a Scottie Scheffler weekend to win the career Grand Slam. It's his birthday on Sunday, his 30th birthday. The course sets up for him. It sets up for good iron players, and that's exactly what he is. He's been struggling over the last month or so. He got into this argument with his caddy a couple of weeks back, and now he has an opportunity to turn it around in style. So the story is almost a little too good to be true at this point. But if he can get it done, good on him. Good on him. His original tee time was 7:14 this morning. He was teeing off with J.J. Spahn. Obviously, that has been adjusted given the fog. And guys, pull up the video here. U.S. Open posted this this on X this morning. Harry Higgs playing earlier today, and he had a great look. You can see the fog here on the green. Had a great look from middle of the fairway, lands it pin high on the green, and then this thing rolls to 75 feet off. And that's what we're going to be dealing with at Shinnecock throughout the weekend for the U.S. Open. So prepare for chaos, carnage, which as a golf fan and as a guy who plays I don't play as much as I used to, but I like to play as much as I can. I'm good in my own mind, but to the rest of the world, I'm not that great. But I do enjoy seeing professional golfers have at least one weekend where it is not sunshine and rainbows, and we're not 15 to 10 under par after 4 days of golf. So, and that's what the U.S. Open provides. If you want to win this, you have to be on your top game. You have to have everything working for you, and we'll see if that's the case this weekend. Granted, the USGA is trying to make the course a little bit more playable because if you remember back in 2004, that caused a lot of controversy. Back then, they essentially said the course was impossible. It was unplayable, so they're trying to change that narrative. 2018, I believe, the last time he was at Shinnecock Hills, it was tough there too, with Koepka getting the win. He's in the field here this year. See if he can get it done. Quick look at the leaderboard. James Nicklaus is in the lead. He was the first one to tee off today. He's 2 under through 6, so you already see a little scoring early goings. Graham McDowell is in second at 1 under, then 4 other guys, also 1 under, now 3 other. Just a quick update. Rory McIlroy is one of them. He's on his second hole, and he's 1 under par. We'll talk more about the U.S. Open as we go on later on this morning. But I do want to talk about the World Cup, and that's what we're going to get into next here on this Thursday morning. Michael Breker from the Fargo American Outlaws will join us, give us the full recap and preview of what's coming up in the World Cup, and also what the American Outlaws are up to in Fargo, especially tomorrow. That's coming up next.
This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Back on a Thursday morning. We are off and rolling today as we approach the weekend. As I've been mentioning, been wanting to get an in-depth look at the World Cup here. And for those of you that know me, I'm not a World Cup savant by any means. So I decided to bring in the big guns today and a guy who can help answer all my questions on what's going on. And that is Michael Breker, who is the secretary of the Fargo American Outlaws, the official fan group of the United States national soccer teams. And you may remember him from our coverage of North Dakota State soccer in the fall. Michael, it's great to see you. I know it's been a fun time. How you been?
Life is good. Again, I'm a teacher, so when you introduce me as a secretary for American Outlaws, I think of all the things that I am and I do. This is one of them. But no, summer's been great. Spending time with the kids, getting outside, doing a lot of soccer stuff.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Well, let's dive into it. I've been trying to keep tabs on what's going on in the World Cup, and I want to talk about the American Outlaws as well and what you guys have going on, especially tomorrow. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But just your overall thoughts of the start of the tournament so far in pool play. What have you thought of everything?
So when you talk about soccer, there's, just like in the NBA or the NHL, you've got people from Finland and Sweden, and they're all playing for the same club. As soon as you split those clubs up and now they're playing for their country, you have a little less time to train and a little less time to do things as a team. And so I guess what I've noticed for the first week or so of this tournament is those big name players, the players that are just outstanding players, boy, have they made a difference for their team. The Messis of the world, the Mbappes of the world. So when you have a little less time to train together and a little less time to get the sense of team, those individual players really, really stick out, and they've been really, really fun to watch the first few weeks or the first week or so.
Absolutely. Messi already with a hat trick. Erling Haaland, he's off to a fast start as well. The big names are shining, that's for sure. Let's talk about Team USA here. They're 1-0 in this World Cup so far after their win against Paraguay. What was that game? Give us the breakdown and your thoughts on that game and what went so well. 4 goals in a game is pretty good.
Yeah, we haven't seen that group of players play together almost ever under their new coach Pochettino. So to see though the group that you figured would be the starting lineup all come together and be healthy and play so dynamic has been amazing. The U.S. historically has been like a counterattack team. They take a lot of shots, they defend well, and they break out, or they try to get a corner kick or a free kick to go in. So to see them just create so much was so refreshing from a U.S. point of view. We haven't seen good ideas going forward paired with good execution in such a long time. And so to get 4 goals and each one prettier than the next, just kind of kept going up a notch until that last goal with the outside of the foot from outside of the box, just super confident looking shot. That has been super exciting to see in just this first game.
Was that a game where 4-1, like they should have done that? Does that make sense?
I mean, Paraguay is a good team. When they qualified from the South American group, they had a really good record, and especially a defensive record. I want to say they only let up like 5 or 6 goals in their qualifying campaign. So for the U.S. to come out and score 4 is, I mean, to me, that looks really, really good. That should have been a pretty stout defense. And I think it's just, again, you pair the new ideas with guys that are just executing at top notch and are looking confident with the ball. I would say, there was an own goal in there. And 2 of those goals were mighty nice finishes at the end. But yeah, I mean, I think 4 sounds about right for as much possession as they had, and as many saves as their goalkeeper had to make, and as many corner kicks as the U.S. had. I mean, 4 sounds like a good number.
You've mentioned it. Things are clicking right now for USA, and expectations are fairly high. Is that fair to say for the World Cup this year for USA?
I mean, it's in the States, it's in North America, so that obviously is one notch in the belt. It is one game, so it's tough to overreact. I think going in, there was a lot of negativity. And then all of a sudden the style of play and the way they scored those goals. And I think that obviously boosted. When things are going poorly, winning certainly does change a lot. It does make things look really, really good. So the win certainly helps. I mean, when you look at the players, we've got players playing in the best the Premier League in England. We've got the best teams in Italy. And so when you see these players come together, you think the talent certainly is there. Just as a collective group, watching the warm-up games and watching games that kind of this last calendar year where the Team USA got together and played, it was less than exciting, I would say.
Yeah.
And so I think you always have the hope. Expectation, I would say, coming in wasn't, besides that it's in America and you're an American fan, that's what we're looking for. I don't know that the expectation was to reach a semifinal or a final or the last 8, but again, having watched that first game and having seen all their players come together, I think the hope is definitely on the rise.
Okay. I'm intrigued by this now. Again, Team USA will play against Australia tomorrow at 2:00. Looking forward to that game. Michael Breker joining us here on this Thursday morning. Some other intriguing storylines from this World Cup so far. Cape Verde and Spain. How big of a deal was that? On the show earlier this week, I went into AI and I asked, okay, compare this to an outcome we would see in a different sport. And they told me it was like a Class B North Dakota high school team taking the Timberwolves into overtime. Is that a stretch, or just put it into perspective how big that 0-0 draw was?
I mean, the Class B to the Timberwolves is probably a stretch. That's quite a stretch.
It felt like a stretch.
Yeah, but I mean, but having said that, though, if you're Spain, I mean, I think going into the game, your expectation is you score 5-6 goals.
Yeah.
And so to come away with 0 goals, we've seen soccer matches like that. If you're the uninitiated soccer fan and you watch that game, you're thinking, maybe not the most exciting game because one team is just bunkering down. They're taking away all the space in front of their goal. They're kind of letting the other team shoot from deep. In Spain, had a couple close calls, but couldn't get it in. So, I mean, certainly an upset. And then when they celebrated at the end, that 0-0 game, they acted like they just won.
Exactly.
Of course, Spain is devastated. They acted like they just lost. So that right there tells what the expectations were coming into the game. But again, it's so that's why they play the game. It's so fun to watch these. And in soccer, I use the term fickle all the time. It's hard to score goals, and when you're a team that's really taking space away in front of the goal, you've got to do something creative, or there has to be a defensive error. And Spain just couldn't capitalize and didn't get the error they were looking for.
Okay, Spain, obviously they're a favorite in this thing, right? Don't be surprised if they bounce back and win the whole thing.
I mean, yeah, Spain will be fine. There's no doubt about it. Spain's got, when you look at the players on their roster, just loaded all over the world. I don't know if they're the top favorite. To me, I think France, when you look at the players they have on their team, it's crazy the amount of people you see on that team and the amount of firepower they have.
Other teams that are in the mix, or maybe even some dark horses as we go throughout the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I would think the ones people think of most often, Germany, Spain, France, again, looks like they're going to be an amazing team. The teams I like to watch are like the Moroccos of the world, the teams that maybe don't have the super rich soccer history, but when you watch them play, super energetic, going toward the goal, direct when they want to be direct, and their players are just skillful and cool and calm. Another team, like a team like Netherlands, they're kind of a little bit maybe past their prime, but when you look at the players on their team, just loaded with talent. So to me, there's those big name teams, but then there's also those countries that you like to watch them play. Again, Algeria last night I thought had some really good players. So it's fun to watch some of those teams that you maybe aren't the name, the big country that you're thinking of, but really put together a team and can play well.
And I like to see how much it means for their fans back home. This is a huge deal. It's awesome. We've seen a lot of fans come to the States here as well. Tell me about Lionel Messi and his hat trick. Put that into perspective for us. How crazy is that?
It was funny. So I'm a teacher, and I had another teacher message me during the game and say, "Hey, this is interesting. Like, as you watch the game," and she's fairly an uninitiated person in soccer, and she's watching him playing, going, "He's not defending a lot. He's not chasing that ball back a lot. Like when you're used to hockey, when you're used to basketball, all 5 of those players run back on defense. They get back and they help out. When you have 11 players, sometimes you can leave that one player high to try to get the ball, and when he gets the ball at his feet, he is absolute magic.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably could have scored a 4th and a 5th goal if you watch him play. He's just he doesn't lose speed as he dribbles. A normal human being would lose 30% of their speed just by having to touch the ball when they're running with it. He seems to go almost faster with the ball at his feet, and then his accuracy and his power are just, every time he wants to do something with the ball, he absolutely does it. If he wants to put it in the top corner, he puts it in the top corner. If he wants to put it in the lower corner, he puts it in the lower corner, and that's with guys draped all over him trying to do everything they can do to stop him. He is an unbelievable player.
Oldest player to score a hat trick, and also tied for the record for most career goals in a World Cup as well. A couple more before we let you go. I know you got to get to soccer practice here in just a second. You are a part of the American Outlaws. For someone who's not familiar with that group, give us an explanation of what you guys are and how people can get involved.
Well, American Outlaws is a national organization. It's the official fan group of the U.S. national teams. That's men's, that's women's, that's futsal, that's kind of everything. Obviously, the U.S. men's and women's teams are the two that get the most notoriety. So our job as the Fargo chapter of that national organization is to kind of get Fargo energized about what the U.S. national teams have to bring. About 8 months ago, we kind of got together after kind of just spearheading the organization and kind of taking it over and saying, what can we do for this World Cup coming up to make it an experience and grow the game in the Fargo area and just make it exciting. And so we met with Folkways and we talked to Folkways and said, hey, Joe Burgum, Jeffrey Porter, what can we do? What can we do to team together to make this work? And so we've had some meetings and we're brainstorming, and we thought, downtown would be a great location to have a watch party. You remember those viral videos from the couple World Cups ago where the U.S. scored against Algeria, and there's liquids going up into the air and people celebrating and bar scenes going crazy. We wanted to kind of replicate that and bring out our own scene in downtown Fargo. And so, Folkways done a great job of promoting it, getting people, getting the organizations ready, Jasper ready downtown with food and drinks, and getting some vendors in for food, just to make the atmosphere comfortable for not only adults who want to watch it, but kids and families who want to watch it as well.
That's fantastic. We're looking at some of the video from the watch party the other day down at Broadway Square in downtown Fargo. You guys are back at it tomorrow at 2 o'clock when USA plays Australia. Is that correct?
That's correct. 2 o'clock, I think we'll bring an awesome, the last game was at 8 o'clock, a little bit late, especially if you've got kids or if you're a family, but that 2 o'clock game on a Friday afternoon during the summer, if you're not going to the lakes, or if you want to delay going to the lakes by a couple hours, what a great opportunity to come out and A, meet new people, B, watch the soccer, and then C, just be part of a community that's bigger than you.
One thing to note, obviously weather may be an issue tomorrow afternoon. If that is the case, you guys are moving from Broadway Square to Side Street downtown. Is that right?
That is correct. So we're going to try to, gauge the weather. Right now, it looks like a 50-50 shake. We're expecting rain for sure. Hopefully thunderstorms stay away. But we're going to try to make a call early. I'd say between 9:30 and 10 o'clock and say, hey, okay, we can either do this or, out of precaution, not keeping families and children out there in the rain and the lightning, we're going to move it to Side Street and 4th Avenue North. So keep your eyes and ears. If you're planning on going to the game, make sure you're checking social media before that.
Last one before I let you go. Of course, North America is hosting this World Cup. I think the story of the World Cup is what's happening outside of the games. It's all these international fans coming to our part of the world, some of them for the first time, and then just absolutely loving it. I see videos all the time, and it makes me smile of someone from England coming over for the first time and going to Walmart and seeing the food selection. That's been pretty cool. Would you agree with that? And how has it been for North America hosting this event?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Those things are the best. I was fortunate enough to go to Italy last summer, and I was one of those people. I wanted to take in the culture, wanted to see the food, wanted to go to all the sites to do those things. And so now that we have the opportunity as Americans in the United States to share with what we have to offer with other people, I agree. I think I watched a video of a person from England trying American barbecue for the first time, and I just thought to myself, I bet you that has to be an experience for them. I don't know what they offer over in England, but I bet you that's a brand new experience for their palate.
Absolutely. It's been super cool to see those videos, and so far it seems like everything's running without a hitch as far as I could tell, and really looking forward to seeing what USA can do the rest of the way. Michael Breker joining us on this Thursday morning. Michael, I appreciate it. Best of luck with practice today, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Always appreciate the invite. Good talking to you, Sam. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Good talking to you, too. Michael Breker from the Fargo American Outlaws joining us on this Thursday morning. Super cool. I'm glad we finally got, or I did at least, a little education on the World Cup here. Now I feel like I'm ready to go the rest of the way, and I understand what's going on. USA and Australia coming up tomorrow in group play at 2 o'clock. Let's take a break. Riley Swenson joining us at 10 o'clock in just a little bit. When we come back on the other side, we'll update you on the standings of some of the groups in the World Cup, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the morning. That's coming up next on Hot Mic. Big thanks to Michael Breker once again for taking some time before he's coaching soccer practice today, for joining us on this Thursday morning. Give us an update on the World Cup and the Fargo American Outlaws. If you're looking for something to do tomorrow at 2 o'clock, join them. Watch the game at their watch party. They'll either be at Broadway Square, if weather is permitting, or over at Side Street, which is also in downtown Fargo as well. If you're looking to watch with a group of people, I think I might have to stop by. It looked pretty fun just based off of the video, and I think it would be cool to see Team USA and Australia coming up tomorrow. Wanted to take some time, Riley Swenson joining us in just a little bit as well in the second hour of the show. Want to take some time and rip through where we're at standings-wise in the World Cup through group play. Guys, just go ahead and throw them up, and we'll go through them. This is Group A right now with Mexico and South Korea in the lead, each with 3 points. If you win outright, you get 3 points. If you draw, you get 1. That is to my understanding. And then, of course, if you lose, you don't get any. So Mexico leading the way there. In Group B, Switzerland, Canada, Qatar, and Bosnia, all 1 point. Everybody keeps tying each other over there. In Group C, Scotland and Morocco and Brazil and Haiti. Scotland with 3 points with their win over Haiti. I'm a Scotland guy now, I think. Just seeing what they've done. They've taken over Boston and Massachusetts. They've drank the city dry. I loved what they did. If you saw the videos, they were out at a Red Sox game at Fenway Park. They're singing the whole time. I love the energy that Scotland and really all soccer fans from across the world have brought to the United States to this World Cup. That has been super cool. I wish we could, as American sport fans, adopt that. I feel like the closest thing we have to, the chance that and the energy that World Cup fans bring is like a marching band. Which, don't get me wrong, I love marching bands. I'm a huge marching band guy. I just wish we had more of that. I thought it's fantastic what they're doing out in Boston. So that's Group C. Group D is the United States one. They're in the lead with Australia, 3 points Australia getting the win over Turkey, USA with their win over Paraguay the other week. And we'll see what those two will bring to the table come tomorrow. High expectations, at least I have high expectations for the United States moving forward. In Group E, Germany and the Ivory Coast at the top there with 3 points apiece. In Group F, Sweden leading the way with 3 points in Group F over Japan, the Netherlands, and Tunisia. See, that's my other problem when it comes to the World Cup. I don't know where half of these countries are. Group G, New Zealand, Iran, Belgium, and Egypt, all with 1 point apiece. Group H, everybody with 1 point over there as well. That's including Spain after their draw with Cape Verde the other day. That's been the biggest story, in my opinion, of the World Cup so far. Norway and France, 3 points apiece in Group I. In Group J, Argentina and Austria with 3 points apiece. Lionel Messi with the hat trick. He's now got 16 career World Cup goals, tied for the most. I would imagine he breaks that record at some point over the next month or so. Also becomes the oldest player to score a hat trick in World Cup history as well. In Group K, Colombia with 3 points, leading the way over there. And Group L, England and Ghana with 3 points. They were able to pick up wins over Panama and Croatia. We'll see if England can cap off this stretch with a World Cup championship. As you heard Michael say, they're one of the favorites in this one as well. So we'll keep tabs on that. Dom's more of a soccer mind than I am, so he'll keep tabs on that next week. And as we get closer to the championship in the later rounds, no doubt about that. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, hour number 2 coming your way on this Thursday morning. WDAY sports anchor Riley Swenson will join us. A lot to talk about with him, including the U.S. Open and the Bell Bank Red River Am. That's all coming up when we come back.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Back for hour number 2 of this Thursday morning edition of Hot Mike. Thanks for joining us however you are. WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and also streaming on Inform.com. Usually at this time on a Thursday morning, I'm in that chair and Dom's in this chair. So roles reversed, and filling in for me is our guy Riley Swenson, who you see on WDAY News, anchoring the 6 and 10 on a nightly basis. Good to see you, man. How you been?
Well, I'm sure this is exactly what people wanted. You know, they see me every night at 6 and 10. Why don't we get him in the morning, too? So I apologize. I'd like to start by saying thank you for the picture in there for the guest lineup. I miss my mustache every day, and so I'm glad that you put that in there.
I was rolling through, I Googled you, and that was the third picture that popped up. And I knew you had facial hair back in the day when you interned for us, but I did not know you were rocking a mustache like that. That was awesome.
Well, usually a Google search brings up, there was a catcher that played for the Gophers, so I'm usually good with that, too. You know, people look up Riley Swenson, like, geez, you're quite the baseball player.
Throw one of those on there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you were quite the baseball player back in the day, weren't you?
I was okay. I wasn't great.
That's fair. I think I was not good. I'll say that. Speaking of baseball, I want to get into that topic in just a little bit. You were actually out at the Division B softball state tournament, helping cover that for all of our action-packed month that was at WDAY. What were your thoughts on that tournament? You survived another tournament season.
Yeah, I thought it was very well run. I thought the games were wildly entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first day we had a couple of blowouts, which you kind of expected with Central Cass, and then it was Velvet Drake and Moose that both of them just kind of ran away with it. But then 2 other great games that day. And then semifinal Friday was unbelievable with the games that we had. And I think when I was talking on the championship Saturday with Scott Kost of Central Cass, he said the best part about it is over the years, Class B softball has just gotten more and more competitive.
Yep.
I think you saw that this year, and I would expect that to continue. And I think that's just good for the sport, good for the viewers, good for everyone. Okay, Central Cass still won this year, but it seemed like there were other teams that could have done it, where maybe years past the number 1 seed just kind of rolls to a 10-run win every night, and they were tested. So that was cool.
We've talked about it on this show. You've had a front row seat for it now for pretty much your whole life, being a Moorhead guy, seeing the development. But here in our neck of the woods, the level of athlete continues to grow, I should say. We saw that with Division B, Division A softball, Division B, Division A baseball. There's some pretty good athletes around here.
No, it's unbelievable. I've said that since like the first day that I came back into this role here. And I remember going to basketball practices and football practices, but really basketball is where it came out to me and was clear. Like when I was in high school, which was not that long ago, 2021, I graduated. So that's
You're a young gun.
I am. So that's 5 years ago. If someone could dunk when I was in high school,
that
it was
was
like,
a big deal.
All right,
that was
like,
huge.
This guy must be good. He's got hops. You go to a basketball practice now, every kid is throwing down. I mean, every single. It's almost, if you can't dunk, it's surprising. And I'm just like, unbelievable. So yes, the level of athlete, not just in basketball, and
especially on the diamond.
Yes, I've said baseball.
Really
I mean, you watch now that these teams combine for the summer, and you look at Post 400, Post 2, West Fargo. I mean, Moorhead sticks with their pretty much same team from school ball. But now they combine, you have these kids that are, I mean, it's just unbelievable going to Texas A&M, just playing right here in town. I mean,
Fargo South, that's Case and Borkhardt going to Oregon, Hudson Dinger going to NDSU, you name it. That's a fitting segue for what I wanted to touch on next, and it involves your Moorhead Spuds. Speaking of really good athletes, they got a ton of them. Got another one in Drew Kessel, who's making his way across the river. You were actually at Concordia's 7-on-7 camp and got to see this team pretty much for the first time, a snippet of it. Are they what we expect them to be, from what you can tell so far?
So I was there, and I was moving around the field. You can see it here. I was there for 2 plays. These are the 2 plays I needed. So the first one's just a pass to Drew Kessel, who's wide open, and then this throw was unbelievable. I mean, just right over the D-back to David Mack, but it looked like they were playing catch in the backyard. You know, it didn't
effortless.
It didn't look like it. So then here's some other clips from some other teams that were out there. I got Fargo South, got to see them. This is Shanley and DGF. DGF runs the triple option, so you'll see a clip of them. Kind of tough to do that in
triple
7-on-7.
7-on-7.
There it is. But yes, they look as good as advertised. And I mean, you think about them and the Spuds and what they needed to compete this year. So we know that they have the skill position guys, which is kind of, different for this area. I feel like usually we have, offensive linemen, defensive linemen that are going big schools,
guys
NDSU.
Who can anchor down and, make
kids on the farm, Midwest born. So to have a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, I know we've talked about it a lot on this show and just in general. So what they were missing is a guy with, a little bit of, strength to him and a guy that can fill up the gaps in the middle. So now they have a guy that was offered by FBS schools.
Right. And he's 6'7".
Power 4.
He's pretty
6'7".
tall. Yeah.
And so now not only does Jet Feeney have a running back he can hand it off to or dump it out to, Zach Walker and David Mack on the outside. But now that he's got a tight end that's just as good as the rest of them. I mean, if you don't have someone to go watch on a Friday night, I know that we're going to cover their games extensively on our network, so you can either stay at home and watch them, or it might be a tough ticket to get. They might have to find some new seating at Jim Goda Stadium, but that would be something where even if you're not a fan of Moorhead and you're not a fan of, if you just like football, they're going to be fun to watch.
And the schedule they have coming up this year, all the big schools from the cities are most of them are coming up here, which is it's a much different world than Moorhead was even when you were in high school.
Yeah, we played Wilmer.
What was the furthest road trip that you had? That was like a regular one.
We went to Bemidji every year. It was it's a 2.5 hour one. Yeah. We went to Rogers, Buffalo. We kind of started my senior year. It's kind of when we started to go towards the cities, but it was never, Edina, Eden Prairie.
4 hours for a conference game is wild. That is wild to me. As a Moorhead guy and seeing, the Spuds are a projected favorite for the Prep Bowl to win that this year. Obviously, Moorhead hockey is having a lot of success. What's your reaction to this boom that they've been having, if you would call it that? Because obviously they've been good.
Yeah, I mean, we've been good in years past, but it hasn't been like this. So when I was in school, we we were the mythical state champions in football. So I mean, don't forget about that.
2020.
But and then for the hockey team, so I didn't play hockey. I was a basketball guy, but still follow the hockey team. And yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. Of when I was in school, like going to state was a big thing, and now it's almost like going to state, or in football's case, getting to the semifinals is expected.
Yeah.
And the fact that now winning state is like the goal is just kind of it's interesting, but I think it says a lot about the time that they've put in over there. I mean, the facilities, the upgrades, the new weight room they have is unbelievable. The new gym, everything they have going on over there. They've put in the resources to be successful, and now they're seeing the benefits of that.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing what Moorhead can do, especially on the gridiron coming up once we get to the fall, which is right around the corner. For those that do not know Riley and his stories, prior to coming here, you were with the Minnesota Twins and the Twins Radio Network. So I want to get your thoughts on this. Jeff Passan from ESPN wrote an article yesterday. Of course, the trade deadline's coming up on August 3rd, and he top 100, if I'm not mistaken, people that could be moved at the trade deadline. Byron Buxton he had at number 2, and Joe Ryan, I believe, at number 4. What's your reaction to that?
So that to me, I mean, and so I saw that, and then I saw the clip that someone immediately tweeted out from last year's All-Star game, and they said it was the same exact conversation of Buxton being traded potentially, and he looked at the reporter and goes, "Well, I can't be traded. I have a no trade clause."
Yeah,
and they're like, "Okay, but have you talked to management?" He's like, "About what? Like, I'm a Twin for life. That's the best thing ever." Now, I also talked to Carlos Correa last year at the trade deadline that said he would not be traded, and then hours later, I'm sitting at home
pretty wild
and he was traded.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to say these professional athletes are always telling you exactly the whole truth, maybe not the case. Byron seems like a guy, from interviewing him and talking to him and him being in the organization for as long as he has, that he means what he says. And so, obviously, would he be a great trade candidate for someone? Yeah. I mean, he's arguably
any other team would love to have
he's
him.
He's arguably the best center fielder in the
Exactly.
game, other than the Dodgers or Yankees, who probably don't need him. Everyone else would be, they probably would love to have him start in center field every day. But I just don't think that's even realistic.
And what do the Twins get that somewhat equates to what Byron Buxton brings?
As I was telling you, you trade a guy because you hope you get someone like Byron Buxton.
Right.
So why would you trade Byron Buxton? And yes, he's getting up there in age, but I think, and you've already done enough to the fan base to basically say, you know what, we don't care.
Right.
Now you trade away the one guy that people are coming to see every single night. I don't know how you explain that one. Who said he wants to stay?
On the other side of that, though, as you mentioned, he's getting up there in age. You got to imagine he wants to win, be a part of a winning team. He is a Ferrari in a trailer park right now, and I wonder how much that plays a factor, or if it does at all.
It could. I mean, I don't know though. These guys are human too. He's got a family with young kids and a wife that obviously like living in Minnesota. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have found a way out by now. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he wants to win, but maybe he feels like Minnesota can win. I mean, I don't know. Baseball is...
They're in that stretch right now where they're
winning.
Successful. And obviously, just based off of reading the article from Passan, you get the vibe that the Twins may be sellers at the deadline this year. But if they continue this stretch, maybe they turn into buyers. We're still a ways away from that.
I think they should be sellers probably, but I don't think that means... trade every single person like last
get rid
year.
Of the gamut. Yeah. Now, Joe Ryan, the other part of that one is one that wouldn't be surprising.
Reasonable. That was talked about heavily last year. The rumors were that it was minutes away from being done, and then basically the two sides, I believe it was them and the Red Sox, just kind of ran out of time was kind of the thing, and it didn't end up happening. That's where he was rumored to go the whole time. That one makes sense because the thing with Buxton is they have him he's signed an extension already.
Yeah.
He's shown that he wants to stay with the team. Joe Ryan hasn't been up for free agency yet and hasn't needed to sign an extension. He's just been on his contract, then in the whole arbitration. I'd love to tell you I know how it all works. It's very confusing. But he's basically, he hasn't said it, but you get the vibe he's not going to re-sign with the Twins for one of these massive extensions. Right. So then becomes the question of, it's kind of like the Nationals with Juan Soto. Okay, he's not going to re-sign. Where do we send him now that we can get something back. So it's not just we have this generational talent and then have nothing to show for it.
Right, exactly.
So that one would make sense. I almost think they should do that. And especially from a fan standpoint, Joe Ryan pitches once every 5 days. He's awesome. Love seeing him pitch. Byron Buxton plays every single day. I don't think you can do that and be like, this is a business and we're going to make good, sound decisions and then trade away our biggest money maker.
Yes, yeah, I would agree. That would be absolutely heartbreaking if they decide to do that, but crazier things have happened. Ryan Jeffers, Trevor Larnach, and Taylor Rogers also on Jeff Passan's list of potential guys who could be moved at the trade deadline. Let's take a break. When we come back, more to get to with Riley, including some golf topics I want to touch on and what he's got working on in the days and months moving ahead as we go through the summer. That's coming up when we come back on Hot Mic. Couple of minutes left here with our guy Riley Swenson, WDAY sports anchor on this Thursday morning. You are off to all the festivities at Roger Maris All-Star Week after this one, so we'll get you out the door here in a little bit. Speaking of golf, they got their golf tournament going on. Bell Bank Red River Amateur Tournament coming up, championship I should say, is coming up next week, Friday through Sunday. Catch all of that on WDAY Extra 12 to 5. We will be on the air there. You know that course, Moorhead Country Club. You actually had the opportunity to play a couple holes with Ian Simonich the other day. That story will be on the air here after a little bit. What was that like? I imagine you got dusted. Is that fair?
Well, yeah, we only played 2 holes, which is good to keep it within striking distance. Here you can see some of a little teaser for you that, this story, planning on airing this at some point next week and lead up. It'll actually be 2 separate stories. So we played 15 and 16. This is hole 15. What I realized, I smoke a tree right there.
Okay, it's not a good outcome.
I've never been more nervous over a golf ball in my life.
Once you get a camera on you, man, it's a.
But look at here, I get up and down from here.
Ooh,
Ian did not.
Is this 16 right here?
Yes, this is on 16. Look at that putt right there. Roll it in.
Cheeky.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Ian did not. Hate to call him out like that. He made par of the hole before, though. I think I made something around bogey.
Okay.
But no, it was a lot of fun. I think it's going to give people a different perspective of, if you're a golfer and you've played there before, you probably already know. But for the average fan that is just maybe going to tune in on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they maybe don't know the course as well, 15 and 16 usually play a pretty big part in who wins that tournament.
Yep. Yes, it does.
And so that's why I wanted to play those holes with him. And so 15 is a par 5, but they can put the pin either down in a little bowl or up on top there. Kind of affects if you can go for it in 2 or not and try an eagle.
Yep.
So it just changes a lot of things there. And then 16 is the island green. And so that one's just tough and unique. But it was a lot of fun just to hear from his perspective kind of what is going through his mind and what he's trying to do on each hole and what his thought process is. Because when I step up to the ball, I got a million things.
Yeah, right. Just make contact.
I'm like, remember the YouTube video? Remember what they told you? Out, swing like I'm hitting one to right field, as they always tell me.
I keep hearing that, too, all of a sudden. I guess I'm not an opposite field hitter.
Yeah, no.
I just can't.
I can't do it.
How's the game looking these days for you, by the way?
I thought it was good, honestly, until I watched that, and then I do not like the way my swing looks.
Yeah, me either. I was doing a story a couple years ago, back when I was still up in the news department. I was out at Village Green, actually, and it was just the return of golf season, so it was freezing cold. And I had the idea of, okay, I'm going to start this story with me hitting a drive, and I didn't bring clubs. So I go into the clubhouse, and all that's in there is a persimmon driver, which is already almost impossible to hit. But they let me hit it. And, that was the first time I've, actually seen my swing.
Yeah,
it's just... I actually hit an okay drive. I'll give myself props on that. But, it's a different animal.
I don't like that.
When you watch your swing back.
But I enjoy playing.
Absolutely. It's all for the love of the game. Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championship coming up next week. It's always a super, super fun tournament. Ian, you got a shot this year, you think? Ian Simonich?
I think...
It's a good field.
Maybe a good feel. The problem is when you go from playing golf every day.
Yeah, right.
To
Former
now,
North Dakota State golfer, and now he's in the big boy world.
Yep.
He
works
got
9 to 5 and then plays men's night maybe once a week.
Yeah.
Little different to try and hone in the skills.
Right.
I feel like that's why you see the guys from UND and NDSU and even I was watching when Goose was on talking about how St. Thomas is getting more involved.
Yep. The field's growing really well.
The college golfers tend to. But, I mean, was it 2 years ago? Was it Ben Welly when he won it?
Yep.
So, I mean, he played at college golf, played at Kansas,
but for a little bit,
but he is not a guy that plays every single day and practices, so they can do it.
And
so,
Ian for sure knows the course. He's familiar with that, and he's had success at this tournament. U.S. Open also is going on right now. There's been some chaos over at Shinnecock Hills, really leading up to it. It's a controversial course for this event to be at for many. I like it. I like seeing PGA players get a little bit of taste of what it's like to be or feel like a mid-am, if you will. You got a pick for this week? Who's going to win this thing?
Well, I didn't until yesterday. I saw on ESPN they were talking about it, and whoever was talking about it, I was just listening because I'm hard at work. I can't I can't be watching that kind of stuff.
Good save. Yep, you're working hard.
And they said Shane Lowry because he's got a nice short game, and that's going to be key this week. They feel like. So I guess I'll go with him, except I don't know how you ever pick against Scotty or Rory.
Right. Story's just looking too good for Scotty right now. Grand Slam, birthday coming up on Sunday.
I would love to see him get it done.
Yeah. I think it would be cool. It would be cool.
I love seeing history and being
exactly.
like, hey, I was
when Rory won the Masters, one of those deals.
I was alive when that happened. Yeah. I remember where I was that Sunday when he did that. But I'm in the same boat as you. I love seeing it would be great to me if the winner shot one over for the weekend. You know, just grind it out. Right. Everyone's making bogeys and make par a good score. I saw one though today already, and a guy hit one up.
Oh yeah, we showed it
on the middle of the green.
Yep, pin high, and it rolls off to the middle of the fairway.
So that I was like, okay, I get it. They want to make it hard,
right? But that's a little.
If you hit one pin high, I get they have some spin on it, but I mean, come on, it should stay somewhere on the surface.
And it's not. It had a lot of green to roll through. Right. It's not like it was right on the edge. It had to go pretty much.
It hit
the
a little
green.
spot, and then it got a boost.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It was unbelievable. I was like, I would break clubs.
I was say, what would you shoot at Shinnecock?
Oh, I mean, 120.
Oh, easily. Yeah,
because I mean, they put the fescue. 5 inches
you're an
off
inch
the fairway.
Off the fairway. You're in knee-high grass at that point.
I mean, I probably wouldn't find half of my tee shots.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I'd have to bring a couple boxes.
Yeah, a couple boxes, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, no, I don't even. And also, when I play golf, I like to call them cheats. You take a couple cheats.
We're not getting paid for this.
Right,
Okay, I'm glad you're like that because I feel like more people should. We don't need to be that high.
Yeah, so when
obviously you want to have integrity of the game, but let's have fun.
Yeah, so when I tee up my breakfast ball at the U.S. Open, they'd be like, "Sir, that's not allowed."
Yeah, when I'm 2 feet out of a putt. Good to me.
That works.
Looks good, man. Yep. You got to go. You got to go to Roger Maris All-Star Week. What are you and the rest of the sports crew working on here that we can expect? Obviously, the Ian Simonitz story and what you got going on today.
Yeah, Kenzie Eiserman's heading out to the Shrine Bowl today. That's this week. So getting a story from them in Mayville. They play on Saturday. I had the chance to chat with Alex Meese yesterday. He's heading to Oregon this weekend for the Nike Elite High School track meet. So he's going to get to throw in Eugene. So I talked with him. And then, probably some more Red River Amateur coverage coming up next week with those stories. And, Roger Maris All-Star Week, and head over there right as soon as I'm done with this and hopefully talk to some celebrities that are hitting some golf shots there as well. Seems to be the theme. Golf is the theme today.
It's once we get to the late part of June, it's all golf, that's for sure, and I got no problems with that. Appreciate you coming on. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes out of your busy schedule. We'll let you get ready. Programming note, you're not going to be doing any sports today at 6.
No, got the Enderlin special.
We have a special on Enderlin, and of course everything that happened last year. We're a year later from that now, and really cool special coming up on WDAY News at 6. So you will be on at 10 tonight.
Yes.
Okay. We'll keep tabs on that. Riley, appreciate it. We'll see you later. We will take a break here on Hot Mic. When we come back, we are solving the world's problems when it comes to the NHL playoff bracket and everything that comes out of that. So that's coming up when we come back on Hot Mic.
This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
We are back on this Thursday morning. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo. Big thank you to Riley Swenson for joining us just a couple of minutes ago as well, chatting about everything going on here locally and also some big picture professional sports stuff as well. I'm excited about this coming up here. In studio now is Ben Breker, and making your TV debut. Is that right? At least on this show, I should say. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, congratulations. Happy to have you. Best of luck. It could be nerve-wracking. I'm just kidding. You'll be fine. Ben is usually a producer here on the program, but you came up to me a couple of days ago and told me you've been working on something. It involves the NHL playoff bracket, and this has been a hot topic of debate for NHL fans, for Dom and myself. They switched from 1 through 8 seeding to what they're doing now. Of course, the current NHL playoff format is top 3 teams from each division. They make it. There's 2 wild card teams per conference in there as well. Division-based matchups for the first 2 rounds. And obviously they went to that because they wanted to build some rivalries. They want an early round interest, and they wanted a travel-friendly bracket. So before we go into what you've been working on, which I understand you've come with visual aids in hand, the current bracket as it stands right now, do you like it or not like it?
Not at all. I mean, it works to a certain extent, but now you can see the failure. So I feel like if we look at the bracket, right, that we had up, I think if we can pull it up.
Yeah. Well, the bracket now, a lot of really good first-round games, and that's exactly what they wanted. Minnesota was in the mix. They had Dallas in round number 1. That one went to 6 games. 4-2, Minnesota getting the win there. Only 2 of the first-round matchups were a sweep. So here's a look at a sweep, or at the bracket, I should say. Colorado and Los Angeles went to 4 games, and then Carolina and Ottawa went to 4 games. So the first round was good. But as you were saying, go ahead.
So if Minnesota and Dallas, I think a lot of people in the area know that was a 2 and a 3 seed. Mm-hmm. That, in my opinion, that shouldn't happen. You have a team that has 100 and something points versus another 100 and something. And then if you look at the Pittsburgh and Philadelphia series, that was a 7 and 8 seeds facing each other.
Yeah.
And where Ottawa was the 6 seed, I don't think a 1 seed should face a 6 seed. It didn't really matter for Carolina.
It's like no other playoffs in any other sport has that. You know, it's always 1 versus the bottom. It's not 1 versus almost the bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I looked and even having a 1 and 2 seed on each side. It's like the NHL has had on the West side, 8 of the 11 years they've had this format, there's been the 1 and 2 seed on the same side, so same division. And if you look at, I looked at every other league, so like MLB, NFL, NBA, MSL, WNBA, and the National Lacrosse League.
Oh, okay. Oh,
do you want to know how many times 1 and 2 seed are on the same side?
How many?
0. Combined
right? It's just not a thing. It's not a possible deal. Okay, so that's where we are right now. You can't deny when you look at the current NHL bracket and how it's put out right now that the first round games, especially this year, it was cinema. It was awesome. It was fantastic. But then as you go on, second round, it was all right, and then the conference finals. Those were not fun series to watch because, well, one, I'll say it was an outlier, Vegas and Colorado. No one thought Colorado was going to get hammered by Vegas, but they did. And then Carolina and Montreal only going to 5 games. It's so flipped in the NHL right now. Usually you want your most exciting games in the conference finals, right?
Yeah, but the NHL, how they see it is they want to maximize views in the first round. Mm-hmm. They kind of have given up the idea of, having the number 1 seed having the best chances. They've just kind of given up on that, and Gary Bettman loves his, the best matchups. This is going to get the people watching it. And I will say one thing with the NHL is they have local networks cover the first round, which no other professional sport league does, which is cool for just I think everyone in general, because you can have your announcers for the first round games. But other than that, there's just nothing great that you get great hockey, but I much rather see Dallas and Minnesota in the second round, and then winner goes to the conference finals instead of whoever wins this series gets to face Colorado.
Right, and we're also talking about home ice advantage in here as well. When you look at the division that Minnesota was in, 3 of the top teams in the entire league are in the same division: Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota, miles apart from everybody else essentially for a good portion of the season. And when Minnesota and Dallas are playing in the first round, and Minnesota and any other sport, if we went by the same metrics that the NHL does, they would have home ice. They didn't in the first round against Dallas, which is just absurd to me.
Yeah, and I looked at so we look at Carolina. Their strength they had the weakest. Carolina's a great team. I'm not going to say wasn't. I'm not going to say they weren't going to win or anything. But they also had the weakest strength of playoff schedule since 2013. They had the average point percentage for the teams they faced was .605. The highest one ever is the Los Angeles Kings with .655 in 2014. That was a year they were down 3-0, came back against San Jose, and they faced 1 seed. Anaheim beat them, and then faced Chicago, who was a defending champs, and then they just blew out New York in the Stanley Cup Finals. So that was the highest one. Minnesota, if they had to get to the Stanley Cup Final, and if they wanted, with this kind of setup of bracket, their strength of schedule would have been .66.
Okay, interesting.
So literally, a 10, 10 percentage points?
Yeah, right.
Or something.
It's a narrow difference, and so this is all for the new one. The old bracket, that was 1 through 8. That was more of a traditional postseason that we see in other sports.
Yeah, we can pull up the old format one. So it should be side to side. So yeah, it was they had 3 divisions before, and that's with 30 teams instead of the 32. So you had 3 5-team divisions, and they weren't the best setup because Minnesota was had to face West Coast teams, so it just wasn't fair to them. But you had that. So the division winners were 1 through 3 every single time, regardless. And then all the other teams were ranked 4 through 8, with the second best division team is going to get home ice. And then they reseeded after the first round, which I like that idea.
Yeah.
Because, if a 8 seed beats a 1, should they face another division opponent or whatever? No, I think the 2 seed should be able to face them instead.
Okay, so there's a look at the side by side there. Obviously, you and I are in the same boat. Old format. That one makes more sense. A part of me, and I don't know if you're in the same boat as this or not, when this year's NHL playoffs started and to see how good that first round was, I was starting to sway a little bit back to the new format. I was becoming a fan. Now, I don't know if you were in the same as that, just to see how good the games were, but then as the playoffs went and the series, were shortened essentially because they weren't as exciting as the first round, then my mind went back, okay, old format is better. Were you in the same boat as that, or have you always been firm old format is better?
It kind of you can't the Dallas Minnesota series was great, but I wonder if I'm also looking at it under a colored lens. It's oh, it's because we won. If they lost, how would I feel?
Yeah.
So right. I if you look at it like that, but.
It is, to my understanding, when you even went to the lengths of making a simulation when it comes to all this. Explain that. What did you find in that? So
I should have the simulation. We can pull that up. And so old stand-in simulation, so old format. I had to put the teams in 2 divisions.
Okay.
And so what I had to end up doing was I had to. Before, Columbus and Detroit were in the West, and Winnipeg was in the East because they originally were Atlanta. So I had to basically put Columbus and Detroit in the Eastern Conference. I basically switched Detroit and Winnipeg around.
Okay.
And then added Columbus in to it.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
And then West Coast Western Conference is the best setup, I think, because you have the W1 is all Central Time Zone. W2, except for Winnipeg, but there's Canada teams in there at least. It's all Mountain Time Zone. Okay. And then 3 is all Pacific Time Zone.
Okay. And again, this is a simulation that if we were in this year, this is what it would be like if we were still in the old playoff bracket.
Yeah. So this is what it would look like this year. And I also did the format from 2014, so the first year of the new format, all the way through this year. I didn't do 2020 or 2021 because those years were a little bit different for COVID. but they would be pushed out. There's be two times where a team would be pushed out of the playoffs. In 2016, it would be Minnesota and Detroit, both in the same year. And home ice was lost 4 times.
Okay. So it's not like the old format was all sunshine and rainbows, right? There were still some flaws in there.
The old format, it would when they had it, because it was like from 98 to 2013, there was no instance of a team being forced out of the playoffs.
Okay.
There was an instance, like a few instances where a team would lose home ice, but also you're prioritizing divisions at that point too. So it's kind of like, it's not a best of 2 evils, because honestly, I think 6 times basically there's a critical failure.
Yeah.
Because if we pull up like the current format fails, because there's been a lot. So 10 times a team has lost home ice, basically. And that's just 2 times has been Minnesota.
Yeah. Because at this point, Minnesota fans are used to it. But go on.
And then there's been 11 times where 2 lower seats, like a 5 and a 6 or 5 and 7, have met. So a team shouldn't have home ice, they got it. And Edmonton's actually been in favor of that basically 3 times.
Yeah.
And so that second one, so the Western Conference, so Central, I did point percentage, and that was the difference between like the Central Division side of it and the Pacific side of it. So Central Division, they had 3 teams over like 105 points. And so their average point percentage was .65. Where the Pacific one, they had no one above 100 points. So their average point percentage was .56. So like a large difference in basically just the amount of skill and the amount of competition.
Right.
Where kind of like the Pacific one is a little more, if you put like Minnesota in there, Dallas in there, I think they just cruise through that.
Right, exactly. And that goes to parity in the NHL. Some years you have it, some years you don't. Some years one division is stacked, like the Central was this season, and the others not so much. But of course, it could all change. When you get to the postseason, all that matters is that a team gets hot and makes a run. That's what it is. But it's a good example that even though a lot of hockey fans do like the old format of how it is, there's still flaws in this. Is there anything else about the old format that you wanted to touch on before we get into your solutions to this problem?
I mean, other than like the flags of it, I will say I also like looking kind of at the current format in a sense. I looked at other, I just looked at first round matchups basically over the past, I think 11 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And throughout multiple leagues. And so for the hockey, there's been 88 total matchups in the first round over the past however many years. 23 of them have been repeat ones. So like multiple times people have faced each other in that stretch. 4 straight years there was Edmonton and Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I didn't even realize.
So like that I would get sick of that. So then I looked, okay, what about the NBA, which would be like the old format? They had, 88, same amount, 88, only 12 times they had to repeat.
Oh, okay.
MLB, 43 times. NFL, 48, 2. The MLS, 54, had 5. And then this one, so the WNBA, they only have 13 teams. They had 32 games, only 5 times teams matched up against each other. So it's like,
crazy.
If you don't have it set up like this, you're going to get more division rivalries. You're going to get like just playoff rivalries. I think that is how you grow the game instead of just like, I mean, who really cares about Edmonton and Los Angeles in a sense?
Right, especially in our neck of the woods. Yeah, it's such a when you talk about building rivalries in professional sports. Obviously, the NHL has done a good job of that. Well, that's because it's been around forever. The Bears and Packers and the Vikings and Packers. That's huge. It's harder, in my opinion, for other sports to have these rivalries. I think part of that comes to length of schedules as well. People can get excited for the Packers and Bears, once or twice a year, but when you get the Wild and Stars and they're playing all these games and whatnot, then it gets a little watered down. That's just my opinion. Besides the point, it's tough. The big picture, it's tough to build rivalries in other sports outside of the NHL and outside of college athletics. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, before like the old format, they used to play 6 games against division opponents. Now it's 3 to 4, which is the amount of times you face conference opponents. So it's like your division really doesn't matter in a sense because you're facing everyone in your conference around the same amount of times.
You have found some solutions to this. Do you want to dive into that on what the NHL should do to make everything better?
So I think we should just keep the two divisions per conference. I like the idea of having the two division winners. They can be 1 and 2 seed.
Okay.
So a reward,
like
it's
that,
kind of like the NFL being like, you get rewarded for being a division winner. Even if you're a bad or worse team than one or another, you're rewarded. And then the other teams are seeded 3 through 8, 3 and 4 will host the first round. And then we go back to kind of like the old way where they reseeded after the first round. And so then it rewards the regular season more. If you're going to play 82 games in a regular season, I'd rather like a 1 seed get matched up with an 8 and then with like a 6 and the lower seed possible. Because then it rewards, like, instead, like Minnesota, it would have been better for them just to lose the last, like, 10 games, drop down to a wild card spot, and then face Vegas.
Right, exactly. And then we would have had a completely different, because in my opinion, I think the Minnesota would have beat Vegas in that opening round. Like I've said, I'm still surprised Vegas swept Colorado in the conference finals, but that in my opinion was an outlier in the sense. I totally agree with that. If you're going to play all these games, you might as well really make it mean something. When you get to postseason time, and that's not what the old bracket is really doing. Obviously, all the emphasis, as we mentioned, is on those first round games, which is all hunky dory. But then as you go on, it loses a little. Competitive value on that. I like this idea. I'm a fan of that. You have another solution, though. Well, what is your other solution?
So my other solution, I was just like, you know what? Let's just ditch everything. Let's get rid of the conferences. We're going to keep the 4 divisions, but dissolve all the conferences. So we're going to seed people 1 through 16. Mm-hmm. 16. 1 through 16. And so the 4 division winners will pick their first round opponents, much like the PWHL does. But
which is interesting to me. I like that idea where you can pick who you're going to play in the first round. Not every sport does that. Yeah, I like that.
So, but the format for the first round would be 3-4. So you either choose to play the lower seed. So this would only be like the seed that's playing the division winner gets to choose if they're going to have 3 straight home games to start the series or 4 straight home games at the end. And so that's only like for the division winners. The rest of them, just the higher seed chooses.
Okay. So this is a chaotic solution,
yes,
if you will. I'd be intrigued in it for sure.
And then if a team upsets, so let's say a 16 seed beats the 1 seed, they are now the 1 seed. They steal their seed, basically. If they
okay, interesting. Stealing of a seed.
Yeah. So basically, if you beat the lower seed beats the high seed, they are now the high seed. And then from there, you reseed after each round with the new seeds. The second round, the format will be 1-3-3, with the higher seed having the first home game, then 3 away games, and 3 home games. Third round is like what they do in baseball, 2-3-2. And then the cup final is basically the exact same.
Interesting. All right, well, get this into an email and send it off to the NHL offices.
I'll let Gary Bettman know.
You let him know. I appreciate you coming in and doing this. I like this solution. The first one I think definitely makes more sense and is applicable. But we are all under the understanding that the new playoff format needs some change here in the NHL. Ben, I appreciate you coming on. Let you get back over to do your actual job now. We're due for a break, so let's step aside. When we come back, we'll get into our What to Watch, wrap things up on this Thursday, and we'll get out the door. So that's coming up when we come back. Last couple of minutes of the show on this Thursday morning, wrapping it up with a look at our poll question for today. Besides the Lynx, who has the best opportunity to bring a championship back to Minnesota? I said the Wild. For the most part, you guys are agreeing with me right now, 44% of the votes. The Wolves and the Frost are tied at 22% apiece, and then the Vikings down there didn't even bother putting the Twins on because they got a lot more work to do, in my opinion. But I agree, Wild got a good chance. Let's get into our What to Watch before we get out the door here on this Thursday.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Wrong each, so that's all right. There's our What to Watch for today. Rangers and Twins back at it, Game 3, 1:35 first pitch. That game is on the big network, ESPN today. So we will have Corey Provis on the show tomorrow, talk all things Twins. Looking forward to that conversation. U.S. Open also today after it was suspended. They're back at it, USA Network and on Peacock. I'm excited to watch that throughout the weekend. Ludwig Oberg is in the lead right now, 2 under par through 6 holes. And then Mexico and South Korea in the World Cup. That's our nightcap tonight, 8 o'clock on Fox. A reminder, the USA plays tomorrow against Australia at 2 o'clock. We'll get you ready for that one even more coming up on tomorrow's show. Also tomorrow, we will meet the newest North Dakota State offensive line commit out of Bismarck, Peyton Seil. He will join the show tomorrow morning as well. Big thank you to all our great guests today, Michael Breker, Riley Swenson, and for Ben Becker for giving us a solution to all of the problems with the NHL playoffs. I think we found a good answer out of all that, a pair of good answers. I think we found a couple of there. If you missed any part of the show, you can podcast it on inform.com. Also find some clips up on the Inform YouTube page as well. I'll be back in studio tomorrow. Dom will be back on Monday, where we hit the ground running live on location in Wahpeton for Cody Mount football camp. We'll have the show live down there. Appreciate you for joining us today. Enjoy the day. Hopefully the weather turns around and we can get outside a little bit. But in the meantime, have a good rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.